Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
Nobelia.org. That's the website you have to get on right now. Tell your family, tell your friends. Nobelia.org. We're with the Professional of the Year, Sabastian, who has been bringing amazing moreness and knowledge and changing people's lives for so many years with his Moreness Project. And again, all the self-change and life-changing programs that he offers, let alone all the works and the books and that he's written. He's a real inspiration, and he's trying to help us all live intentionally, deliberately, and live our best life. So welcome back to the show, Sil. How are you?
Yes, I'm very good, thank you. I'm very good. Yes, thank you, Till. That's
Oh,
a nice introduction there.
always. Well, you're a
That
great friend and you offer so much to so many people. So say
thank
hello to
you,
your
thank you,
audience. Say
thank you,
hello.
thank you. Yes, hello, 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 everybody. Good morning to you all.
Good
Yeah. So
morning.
in mourners culture, we switched it up. Instead of saying good day or good afternoon or good evening or good morning, say good mornings. It's a greeting, and you can say it coming and going, both things. And when you're leaving, like salutation, good mornings. Yeah, it's pretty cool, pretty cool. Just to wish each other mornings, and that's really what I want to talk about today. Last week I shared my mind map of way of impeccability, and it has much of the underlying A plus philosophy in there, and that's a big deal, as Jill was saying last week too. This mind map is really something. It's really something special. So if you do get a chance, check out last week's
Yeah.
episode, and I'll come back to that mind map and I'll share some more about it, and we can go into more details. But I have something specific I'd like to share today. Also mourners, and that's really the theme. That's what's in me, and particularly the journey into mourners. In a
Mm-hmm.
very particular phrase. It's not a journey towards mourners. No, it's a journey into mourners or a journey through mourners, because mourners is all around us. And it's about enjoying the mourners now. It's not something that comes later. Of
Yeah.
course, there's more that is going to come. There's
Yeah.
always more. But it's about enjoying the mourners now, connecting to mourners, feeling mourners, being mourners
Yeah.
now. This is something that we don't necessarily feel as a default.
Yeah.
Why? Because we're in a bubble. We're in an awareness bubble, right? And that bubble keeps us ignorant, keeps us stupid, keeps us unaware, and it especially
Very
keeps
stupid.
us disconnected. I mean, that's
Mm-hmm.
just the reality, right?
Yeah.
If we think back in our lives, for me, my journey was one of sort of it came about in a very particular way, but it made me connect to awareness at a
Yeah.
very early age. And I started thinking about awareness. What is awareness? I defined awareness. I figured out what it was.
Yeah.
And of course, the very next step was to realize, oh my
Wow.
Oh my goodness, how unaware am I? I was horrified, and that that unawareness was something that it took a long time to deal with,
Yeah.
many years, decades. Why? Because I would fall into bubbles, and I
Yeah.
realized that I would get, and then afterwards you realize, oh, I was in such a bubble. What was I doing? What was I thinking? Right? And so that maintenance of awareness all the time,
Yeah.
that's something that took a long time. Yes. And
Oh,
that came from, well, I'll speak a bit about it later on. What I want to share now is two poems,
go
and it's
ahead.
a video that I made. A friend of mine made the background video, and I said, man, this needs a voiceover with the poem.
Yep.
So I added it on. And I actually got permission from the musician Sigur Rós, the music that she
Wow.
used, so that I can officially use their music. They like the video.
Wow.
So I'm going to share that, and then I'll talk about that, and I'll come back to this bubble awareness, getting into it, and all moreness that comes from that.
Look
So
at
let
you
me
work so hard to be able to get the people to use the licensing. That's amazing. But you
yes,
continue. You know
yes,
how
that
to
was
do
fun.
it.
Yeah, you just got to reach out and ask.
Yeah.
You never know, and like this, it's a short clip. It's not very long. It's 2 minutes 11. Yeah, and they were happy. It
Yeah.
spreads them. So yeah. All right. So let me. Can I screen share? Yeah, I should be able
Of
to,
course
right?
you can. Yes.
Yeah. All right. Very good. So I gotta share, and I gotta remember to turn on the sound for the to optimize for the video clip. Otherwise, you don't hear anything, right? There's two little buttons when you share there that says, share sound and optimize for video clip.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so here we go. Here we go. Get a full screen first.
Today
And
is the day.
Joe.
Ooh.
Yes, today is the day.
Go ahead.
Yes. And there's another one. And where's the day gone? So two
Sure.
poems. So I made this. I wrote the poems much earlier than that, but that's when I made the video. All right, here we go.
Today is the day for self-change. Today is the day we'll look back on as in the day. Later never comes. Today is the day to plant our tree of real self. Today is the day we'll look back on and say, back in the day, I took action. I did something huge, even though to some it seemed small. I planted the seed, my seed of real self. But I did more back in the day. I watered that seed, tended, nourished my seed. As seedling grew to sapling, I nurtured my real self, daily, constantly, never allowing any opportunity for my treeling to cease growing through neglect. I persisted while my roots of real self grew deep. Then, back on a day, I found my tree of real me no longer needed myself, and I became my tree of real. Yes, back in the day, I did something. Now, every day is the day of real me. Whereas the day gone? Day, slip sliding away, away, tick into night, swallowed and lost, forgotten the light. Day, gone away, it is, what can I say?
Wow.
Today is the day
Today
of
is the
self-change.
day. Everyone, today is the day. Yes, today. Not tomorrow, not yesterday, today. Wow. Great job with your voice, your editing, your inflection. The video, is that in Arizona? The video of the
No. This my friend who took and posted it. I said,
Wow.
man, I want to use your video. I don't know where she is.
Amazing.
But you know what's amazing? Most don't notice that the cars are going backwards.
I didn't notice.
Isn't that amazing?
Did not notice. Wow.
I'll play the beginning a little bit without the sound and have a look. I'm not screen sharing anymore. Never mind. But yeah,
It's okay.
the beginning
Wow.
of the video.
I could find that, and everyone can find that on YouTube.
I have to show you.
Sure.
I have to show you.
All right,
Yes,
go
you
ahead,
can
go
find
ahead.
it on my YouTube channel. But I have to show it because
Go ahead.
it's really cool when you see it. You know,
Wow.
because at first you're just absorbing everything, but because this is looking backwards, you see.
Today is the day we'll look back on.
See? The cars
I thought because of the connection, it was just a little glitching. I didn't
looping.
realize that.
Oh, it's meant to. Look at the blue truck. You see the blue one over here that's zooming along. Yeah.
I did not notice that. I just thought we had glitches. Oh, that is amazing.
It's brilliant. Isn't that brilliant? Because, you know,
And plus,
it's
the camera's moving this way, so wow.
Right. The juxtaposition of the two. I thought my friend did such an excellent job. I just love it. And the poem, I felt the mood. Like if you hear it with just the music, it has that exact right mood that to illustrate, to say, wow, you know, you got to do something, you know. And also, you know, the poem is about saying that well, it's a poem by the young man, which I'll show you the poem here. Well, I don't have screen share anymore. But anyway, so this is looking backwards, and it's saying that on that day, today is the day to do something, but today is the day we can look back on and say, in the day I did something, right? And that means act now. Act now. No matter how old you are, there's that saying to connect with the trees. The best time to plant a tree is 20 years
Yeah.
ago. Yeah. Well, the second best time is right now. See?
Mm-hmm.
So anybody listening, plant that tree of real me. Plant
Ah,
it now.
wow. This is
Yeah, it's very
fascinating.
cool. It's
It
very cool.
is.
Actually, I do want to screen share and then show
Sure.
you the poems. Because
Absolutely.
uh, that's something I might do to that poem is add the words, scrolling as I,
Sure.
because sometimes it's a little tricky to hear the
Okay.
words, because I'm saying it in a particular way, and so you can't always hear it clearly. But yeah, you see, well, let me read the poem again because I
Please.
feel it's worth repeating, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. So today is the day for self-change. A little quote here that isn't in the video. A
Okay.
mourners revealed our
Yeah.
inward journey, looking back,
Mm-hmm.
seeing forward in the now. Wow, that's a cool little quote. A mourners revealed our inward journey, looking back, seeing forward in the now.
Mm.
You can look back, see forward, and do it all in the
Yeah.
now. So, see, that's one of those self quotes that come up there. Anyway, today is the day for self change. Today is the day we'll look back on as in the day later never comes.
Mm.
Today is the day to plant our tree of real self.
Okay.
Today is the day we'll look back on and say, back in the day, I took action. I did something huge, even though to some it seemed small. I planted the seed, my seed of real self. But I did more back in the day. I
Yeah.
watered that seed, tended, nourished my seed. As seedling grew
Oh.
to sapling, I nurtured my real self daily,
Yeah.
constantly, never allowing any opportunity for my tree
Hello.
to cease growing through neglect.
Wow.
Never. I
Ah.
persisted while my roots of real self grew deep.
Mm-hmm.
Then, back on a day, I found
Mm-hmm.
my tree of real me,
You sure
no
did.
longer needed myself, and I
Wow.
became my tree of real. Yes, back in the day, I did something. Now,
Mm.
every day is the day
Mm.
of real me, the young man. So this is important. This is really, really, really important. And it makes a massive difference, right? Because now we get to really understand that if we actually do something major, in other words, start that journey into moreness, that journey through moreness, then there's gonna come a time when you can look back and say, I did something. But you got to start.
Yeah.
Plus, you've got to maintain that start, right? You got to nurture that sapling, that tree.
Yeah.
You got to nurture it and tend it and care for it and water it, and make sure it gets sun.
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise, it's no good. And that's what happens so often. Sadly, people start and
Yeah.
they don't really maintain it, and that maintenance is very
Ah.
key. And to get to this maintenance, the key is to shift our motivation. I've spoken once before. I think I mentioned that to me, there's a very big difference between aspiration and ambition.
Okay.
Now, of course, that is so, when you technically go with the words, but so often we just hear this word ambition. We almost never hear the word aspiration, right? I mean,
No,
how
you're
many
right.
times in your life have you been asked, well, what is
Yeah.
your ambition, right? I don't think anybody's ever asked you, what are your aspirations?
Ah.
What do you aspire to?
Mm.
Yeah. All right. So let me see if I can find something else here. I didn't think to do it, but let me see if I can pull it up.
Sure.
I wrote a list a long time ago. Very long time ago. I made this list when I was a young man. Well, I'm still a young man, but when I was a very young man,
Yes, you are. Yes, you
when I
are.
was,
Ah.
yes, I'm a perpetual young man.
God bless you.
Yeah, you got to stay young.
Absolutely. I'm with you on that.
Right. So I made this list of my aspirations, and I used to carry a very big wallet with a checkbook and everything in it. And I had that in my wallet. It's still in that wallet, actually, this list. Uh, let's see. All right. I always forget the title of it. So when I search for it, I never find it.
Don't worry. Take your
Oh,
time. Take your time.
yeah. Yeah. But, aspirations, though, are absolutely crucial because ambitions, they tend to satisfy everyone else.
Mm-hmm.
We think that our ambitions are important, but really it is our aspirations that
Yeah.
really, really, really matter to us. Right? That's really where things come into their own. Here we go. Here we
Beautiful.
go. That logged me out, so
Okay.
that's why I didn't see it there right away.
No
Uh,
worries.
yeah, it's a very cool list. But I had, well, I still have, I have a friend, and he's in the story in the book, in the bigger book, which is going to be
Mm-hmm.
published later, of
Yeah.
Nobelia and all the story about that, right? I'm going to publish Ask Biela, who is the main character of those books. But anyway, he's Camelius is founded on my friend. He's an
Okay.
actual, he was a philosophy professor. I shared this list with him, and it crashed his brain. He said, "Who the f are you?"
Yeah.
He said it to me like that, right? But he didn't mean it negatively. He said, "Who the f are you to make a list like this?"
Wow.
He'd never thought of it. He'd never thought to make a list like this. So let me share, and then we see what my friend got so excited about. He was positive what he was saying.
Yeah.
It just blew his mind. And to me, it was just like, but if you think things through to the end, how are you not going to come to this, right?
Yeah.
So what
Mm-hmm.
I aspire to: rapture, elation, bliss, exaltation, awe, wonder,
Good.
reverence, grace, harmony,
Mm-hmm.
joy, impeccability, energy, vitality, sobriety, yes,
Mm-hmm.
connectedness,
Oh.
fluidity, nobleness, evolution, spirit, freedom, awareness, insight, silent knowledge, transcendence, and
Mm-hmm.
appropriateness. Universal appropriateness, which he said you don't really need to put universal there. It's implied in appropriateness
Yeah.
in the bigger term. But
Mm-hmm.
I said, just in case, just to remind myself. And I love this little picture of this aspirant, right? This is
Love
very
it.
cool. And set off on his journey over there. It's very cool. Very determined little chappie. But this is key, to have aspirations. Whether you succeed in achieving them or not, or coming to them, doesn't matter. Having
Nope.
them and pursue the path to get there matters. On some of them, yes, I, I, I I do feel I have wonder and reverence. Absolutely, I do feel more connected. Sobriety, you can always get more, but compared to where I was, certainly the sobriety is significantly different, and more to it. But when we start to realize, just having these conceptions, these aspirations in your life, your brain is shifted to something else.
Yeah.
And when you seriously aspire, and you actually you step onto that path of actualizing these aspirations, like we do with ambition, we work towards
Yeah.
it, right? But if you start
Mm-hmm.
making an effort to work towards your aspirations, these aspirations make you able to enjoy being you.
Mm-hmm.
And if we don't enjoy being ourselves, then what's the point? So
Yeah.
many people achieve their ambitions, but at the cost of themselves. I'm not against ambitions, but I am saying be very, very careful that you don't lose yourself in getting to ambition. I see that all the time, right?
Yeah.
People, they do things that they don't really comfortable with, all just to achieve the ambition, right? And
Mm-hmm.
so their real self gets less and less, not more and more. If you pursue your aspirations, because your aspirations are your real you, right? And you might not have such a long list like me. I just tend to be,
Mm-hmm.
that's just how I am. Right? I like to really look at things from multiple perspectives. But you could just choose one thing. Okay, I aspire to joy, real to joy,
Yeah.
or I aspire to peace of being. Many of the participants of Way of Impeccability, they said this. It started with one in particular. Bina was she was co-facilitating with me, and she started the program, the first one, and then she just stayed, So anyway,
Wow.
so they said, well, Bina, what did you get out of it? And Bina said, piece of being. And the person they were interviewing kind of, not sure to come, say, oh, I want that. And they signed up.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a big deal. So it's a major, major aspiration. Again, it all depends on you personally, what matters to you, right? So this beingness, in other words, being our fullness, is absolutely critical. Now, I want to go back to the poems and share the second poem again. Why? Because this is a reminder. And this is like wake up call type of a deal. Yes, I mean there's a poignancy to this poem that's very potent, but it needs to be that way, right? And this is where has the day gone?
Yeah.
Day slip sliding away,
Mm.
away, tick tick into night, swallowed and lost, forgotten alive.
Yeah.
Day gone away, gone away. It is quite relaxed. In other words, act now. Do it now. Do it now. Later never comes. Yeah? And how many people look back and say, oh my God, no, I wasted so much time, right?
Yeah.
And what's stopping us? What's stopping us from engaging on this path of moreness now? Really, I'm asking very seriously to anybody listening to this. What is stopping you right now from taking that one little tiny step?
Fear. I think a lot of it can say fear and
Exactly,
excuses. Excuses.
exactly. But it's fear of what? Fear of unknown. You don't know that there is actually a fear shifted to going into moreness. What's the fear about moreness? Moreness is magical. Moreness is extra.
Yeah.
Moreness is bonus. Moreness is positive by definition. So start moving towards moreness and move away from fear.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's overwhelmed too. And when we look at overwhelm, we say, yeah, but there's so much to do.
Yeah.
Overwhelm is actually relatively easy to deal with.
Mm-hmm.
Find one simple, tiny thing that you can do that is easy to do and do it. All right. So let's say your house gets run over by a hurricane, and now you got to tidy up the house, right? You look at all the house, and your mind starts extrapolating and say, "Oh my God, this is going to take a month to tidy and clean up all this, right?" This is too much. I got other stuff to do, whatever. But if you start and you say, well, what's the smallest, easiest thing that I can do? Well, I can pick up this leaf that blew in here that's right in front of me. Okay, well, okay, what's the next easiest thing I can do? Well, I can pick up the second leaf. Okay, well, I can pick it up together. You see what I
Yeah.
mean? It gets easier as you go along. And whenever you engage in the task,
Mm-hmm.
it always looks much worse in the beginning than when you actually get involved.
Yeah.
So the more you get involved, things start overlapping, and they start. Then you do one thing and it kind of takes care of something else, and now I did two things at once. It's always easier. But if you're always doing something that is simple and easy to do, and you can do it, well, what's the problem? It's
Mm-hmm.
always easy, right? So just focus on doing what's easy and
Amazing.
simple, and you
Amazing.
can.
Easy and simple. I love
That's it. That's
that.
it. That's it. It's
Ah.
profound. It's profound. But also, I had a restaurant, and I think I told you the story once before, maybe, right? I had a very busy restaurant when I was a young man. I was quite
Where
busy.
was this, by the way?
This is in Cape Town, South Africa, in Sea Point, right? It's right there. It's like Manhattan on Malibu. Got married, and that was it. And they tiled the Sea Point, right? Because it's right close by the ocean, but it's also very high rise, very densely populated. Anyway, it's a very busy restaurant, and people from all over the world would come there. It's a very beautiful place, Cape Town, so very good tourist spot. Anyhow, so everybody came from all over the world, people, and especially that were traveling, right? Wealthy, successful people that had everything that they needed. But there came a time when I'd go and ask everything, because I would just manage overall, and I had all the waitresses, but I'd go and check up on the tables.
Yeah.
And boy, they would, this was a thing that happened, it just started once. They grabbed my arm right there and stopped me. grab my arm and stop me like, what? If I was your age, and they would proceed to tell me what they would do if I was your age. Because I was very young, right? I was like 24, 25.
Yeah.
Right? And so, okay, the first time I'm like,
Oh my
okay,
gosh.
that's kind of wild. But this happened
Yeah.
like constantly. It happened over and over and over again, right? Like at least more than a dozen times. It means it just kept on going.
That's
And I'm
crazy.
like,
I don't like
holy
that.
moly,
Yep.
because, and this was, if you look at it from an attunement point of view and an anomalous point of view, it's like I was literally being stopped. And it's busy. There's a line at the door. We always had a line at the door. I mean, I'm under pressure. Every single second is precious. I really learned time management in that restaurant, right?
Yeah.
And anticipation and all sorts of wonderful skills. It was a fantastic university. And then 4 years I had the restaurant. Anyway, every time they would say, grab me and say the same thing.
Yep.
If I was your age, and they would proceed to tell me what I did. I eventually got out of the restaurant because of this, right? I
Oh
took
my
it to heart and I
goodness.
listened. Why? Because I heard, capital H, heard what they were saying. They were lamenting the lost opportunities.
Unbelievable.
This poem, day, slip sliding away, tick, tick into night, swallowed and lost, forgotten the light. They realized that they did not act then, and now they see time slip sliding away, and they only have regrets.
Mm-hmm.
See?
Wow.
Those people, and they had everything. They had everything, but they would give it all up to go back. And from that, I ended up in the desert and all the magical adventures I had in the desert. And it's a long, wonderful, magical story. And I'm still on this journey through mourners. Right? It's
Mm-hmm.
because I did something. And getting out of that restaurant was the hardest thing I ever did.
So true. Oh my goodness.
That was so difficult because it was there. It's busy. It's
Yeah.
to give it up, to get out of what the momentum, the stream that's carrying you. To get out is very difficult. But if you're not sucked in already, yes, then it's much easier. So especially to youth, I mean, yes, I started my journey before I even had any of these kinds of thoughts. But I could easily see how that restaurant could have swallowed me in and pulled me away from the journey too, right? So you got to pursue, really follow, like Don Juan says, we're busy
Mm-hmm.
Don Juan and Carlos in my lives. Follow a path with heart.
Well,
And all you need to do is ask. That's it. Sorry, that's my last point there. Just
no, it's
ask.
beautiful. Thank you.
Does
I was
this
just trying
path
to
have
wrap us
path?
up. Yes. Thank you.
I'm wrapped.
Oh, wow. All right. Well, let me ask, how do we contact you? It's always a pleasure having you here.
Yeah, no, it's Nobelia.org, but you can just add /connect, and then you'll get all the page that has all the ways to connect. Anytime.
All right.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. We'll talk again next week. Always a pleasure having you here and so informative. Thank you. Always upbeat.
Pleasure.
Still, Sabastian, love you and all, that you're doing. And I love that video you showed today about today. Go to YouTube for that. And I'm going to watch it again. I can't believe it was going backwards, but like that, isn't that, my mind was tricking me. Stop. But today is the day, everyone. It is. Make today the day, every day. Thank you.
Are you looking for even more of the podcasts and hosts that you love? The Podcast Business News Network is proud to announce that you now have even more ways to listen live. Check out the MyTuner Radio, online radio box, and Simple Radio apps on iOS and Android, or find us online. Search for Business News Network on mytuner-radio.com, or search Podcast Business News Network on streama.com and onlineradiobox.com/US. Take your podcast on the go and don't miss a minute of the action.
Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
For nearly 2,000 severely injured veterans, everyday life has become filled with barriers.
Day-to-day simple tasks can become pretty daunting.
I have to carry my chair up 2 flights of steps or have somebody do it for me.
What scares me the most is just the falling.
When I'm struggling with my house, I think, to have that one great barrier just knocked down, it's crucial.
Home for Our Troops is a wonderful nonprofit that builds a
mortgage-free, fully adaptive, handicap-accessible house.
And there's no catch.
It'll be our very first home that we've ever owned.
This is a game changer.
This is where your life begins again.
We need you to join us in completing this important mission. Please visit hfotusa.org and help build homes and rebuild lives.
Because of you, everything's going to be okay.